It is the end of Golden Week in Japan. We have had 3 wonderful holidays, and most people have taken the week off. This is Sustainable Short Takes and Updates, a sub-series of Seek Sustainable Japan. I'm JJWalsh, a sustainability-focused content creator and consultant advisor in Hiroshima, and joined by...
Hi, I'm Tove. So I'm a sustainability consultant based in Yokohama, just near Tokyo.
And we have been doing this sub-series as a way to talk about our exciting new event, which is we're doing this year, and it is happening next week. We still have tickets available in both Tokyo and Hiroshima venues. And of course, you can also buy your tickets for the online version. So we'll put links below. But Tove, you want to give us a little update about the Tokyo in-person event?
Yeah, absolutely. So in Tokyo, we are being hosted by LVMH Japan, really beautiful venue in Hanzomon, central Tokyo. So in the morning, we've got keynote speaker Angela Ortiz-Petaz, who, if you want to know anything about how to make an impact, she's the person to talk to. So Angela will be keynote. Then you can see here Fariza Abidova there from Trusted is going to be moderating a panel with Angela, Trista Bridges, Hélène Keguigne, and I'm thinking there is one more person on that panel. Who is that? No, that's the 4 of them. So, and then we've got Aya Yamanouchi and Sarah Backley, so from LVMH and BCCJ, respectively, talking about empowering women in the workplace and some really exciting projects that they've been working on in their organizations. The afternoon, we've got hands-on workshops. So really, it's not just being talked at. This is a day where we really want people to be able to discuss what they're working on, what they want to be working on, to connect with each other, potential collaboration opportunities, and sparking off ideas and inspiration. So we've got 2 workshops, one focused on the personal level, looking at how can you build sustainable practices into your own life, everyday life. And then we've got, after that, looking at in the workplace. So if you're not in an official sustainability role in your organization, how can you actually build that into what you're doing in your everyday work? So we've got James Hollow, CEO of Fabric, working with us, co-facilitating on that. So then there's all the networking in between, and that's going to be a really important part of this, sort of connecting with people, getting ideas and inspiration. So really looking forward to it. Also, Alana Bonzi from Sego, one of our speakers, they're going to be bringing along some art, their ocean conservation art project. So there'll be that to look at and hear the stories behind that as well. So lots of exciting stuff going on.
Wonderful. I'm just putting the link to the event information with the schedule, tickets link for Tokyo, ticket link for Hiroshima. Definitely get on and buy your ticket for in-person or online. It's great that you can support this exciting event, but I think it'll be not only entertaining and informative, but it'll also be inspiring for what you want to do with your life, your work, your travel. And I think that is what we're aiming for. And I think it'll really empower a lot of women. And of course, men, you're welcome to join as well.
Absolutely. Yes, please do.
But all the speakers, all the leaders, all the organizers are women, which is so rare in Japan still to see an all-woman-led event like this. So we really hope it's a wonderful day, and we really think it will be. Yeah. And it'll lead to future events like this, where we can balance the manels, right? We can have women inspiring us and sharing their amazing insights. For the Hiroshima venue, we're in a beautiful port town of Mitarai. It takes a little bit longer to get there from Hiroshima, but it's such a beautiful venue, beautiful location. And part of our day, we're doing a walking tour around. And I've been researching and talking to locals and getting lots of great stories, not only about the history and heritage of the area and sightseeing, but also about how it's very sustainable in action now, and some of the interesting activities and programs which are happening right now. And I'll have that as part of the tour that I'm doing.
Brilliant.
So I think that would be really interesting.
Absolutely. And also, just to add on all of these things, so like the tour of Mitarai, all these stories, the workshops we're doing, the panels, all of that, we're recording as well. So if you're watching online, you'll still be able to see all of this and take part as well, ask questions and so on. And for the people attending in person, they'll get the recordings afterwards as well. So you can watch what's going on no matter which venue you're in. You can still see all of the content from the other one as well. So added value there too.
Yeah, absolutely. To just recap some of the great talks that I'm having today and had yesterday, I talked with Ed Stathum, who's from the UK originally, and he has bought an old Minka property in Nagano, which he has remodeled a lot himself. And yesterday's talk was a lot about reuse, right? Like he found some old antique furniture. He was able to reuse the wood in the flooring. He also realized that there were a lot of empty Minka around, and he's renovated a couple other properties and rents them out so that people can go and rent and have a chance to try living in the community, see if it suits them before they decide to buy something. And I think I hear this a lot from people who transition from the city to rural areas in Japan, to go and try it and see if it's a good fit for you before you invest in buying your own old property and fixing it up, right? So really,
no, it's really important, right? It's a huge shift. It's a very, very different lifestyle. And I think it makes perfect sense to try before you buy. So that's great to hear that that's an opportunity to do that.
And beautiful area of Nagano. Today, 5 p.m., I'm talking with Andrea Carlson. Andrea is really interesting also about Kominka, and she's talking with, she's part of a US-Japan association of Minkas and Kominkas.
Wow.
So it would be really interesting to talk to her. She was also at the Kominka event, same as Ed. I've met so many wonderful people at that event, which will be in the talk show series this month for sure.
Brilliant. And that's the beauty of these in-person events, right? You can have all these interactions, these side conversations that just spark off new ideas, new thinking or whatever. And that's something that online, it's limited, right, as to how much you can do that. So we're really hoping to see a lot of that happening in the Hiroshima and Tokyo venues too. Lots of these little sparks flying, people connecting and seeing what comes out of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we can call ourselves sustainability influencers. What do you think, Tove?
I hadn't thought of it, but yeah, go on. happy to influence in any way I can.
Another point, Helen, who is one of your panelists for the Tokyo event, her organization, she's one of 3 organizers for Ekolokal, and they have some really exciting events coming up. They've got an Eco Shop-along, which I talked to them about when they joined the talk show series. It's a great chance to try out zero waste shopping, and they set up with all the vendors in advance so you can use your own containers, and you really can do a Eco Shop-along, which is not really possible usually. So it's so nice that they set up this great event. There's another great event that they have going on Sunday this week. It's the In the Loop series. So circularity driven pop-up event, another zero waste focus in collaboration with Fab Cafe in Tokyo. And
that looks fun.
That sounds really good. And they just opened their own cafe as well. Slow Lab Cafe. So I really want to go. If I'm in Tokyo, I want to go and check it out. I'll be up in Tokyo, I think, next week. Wow. But let me just show the website here. So they've got some food. It's all vegan. You can
Beautiful.
also rent out the space if you want to do an event. That would have been really handy if they had opened a bit earlier, right?
Yeah, next time, next time.
Next time, yeah. But yeah,
Beautiful.
we wish them lots of luck. This is a great new enterprise that they're trying right there in Tokyo to try to support the sustainability community that's
Mm,
growing definitely in Tokyo,
yeah.
and looking for venues, looking for places to meet and support each other. So it's great to
Hmm.
see that.
No, it's really good to see that because I think, there's often one of the big hurdles for any sort of new organization like this is the infrastructure, right? Having the space and the connections to do whatever it is they want to do. It's kind of like having an electric car, right? It's wonderful, but if there's no way you can go and charge it, then you're kind of a bit stuck. And it's a bit like this as well. I think for a lot of these, maybe small companies starting up with wonderful ideas, but if there's no space for them and there's no sort of infrastructure community around, it's very difficult to get any traction and to keep going.
Yeah.
So it's good to see that. Sorry, I've got a cat joining me now as well.
Oh,
So
that's all right. We like
background
that.
noise.
Hello. You had an interesting event, Japanese, Norwegian, Swiss perspectives on net zero. Do you want to tell us about that?
Yes, so this is an event. So I'm moderating two panels at this event. So it'll be two short panels. We're going to be looking at the topic of transition finance. Sorry, I've got the gourmet lorry coming past outside, so it's a bit noisy. So we've got two panels of three people each, and we're looking at the topic of transition finance. So how do you fund that transition from not sort of unsustainable practices to more sustainable ones, whether that's around energy use or processes, whatever that is. And the first panel is going to be looking at it from the recipient's perspective. So the three people on that panel, they're all large, very large companies, one Swiss, one Japanese, one Norwegian. And we're going to be looking at sort of what kind of projects are they doing that they are looking for funding for, and why is the funding important? Where do they look to get that, and so on? How does that relationship work between the provider and the recipient? And then the second panel is from the provider's perspective. So we're looking at three very large organizations, again, one from each of the three countries involved, and we're going to be looking at from their perspective as a financial backer of these kind of projects. What are they looking at? What are the risks for them? What are the opportunities? We'll be talking about things like sort of how do you get around the whole greenwashing question? How do you know that a project's really viable and what your funding is actually going to have the impact it's supposed to have? So yeah, really looking forward to that. The event will be in English and Japanese, and we'll have simultaneous interpretation available, so you can listen in whichever language is comfortable for you. So that's on the 11th. Next week, so a few days before our event. So it's going to be a busy week.
Ah, busy. And it's yeah, the Ekolokal event. I said the 15th is not this Sunday, it's
Right, the
next
Sunday
Sunday
after.
after
Yeah.
our event. Yeah.
There's a lot going on, which is
A
really
lot.
exciting, right? It's great to see so much happening in this space, right from the grassroots, the local community level here, through to the big organizations and governments talking about, what they're doing to fund these major transitions that need to happen. So it's all good to see this kind of momentum really building.
Yeah, definitely. Another event I wanted to shout out, also connected to the Ekolokal network. This is in Kyushu, Kasamatsu Farms.
Mm,
So, really lovely young couple doing organic farming and doing workshops and events in that area as well. And that's at the end of this month, actually. Yeah,
wonderful.
you can
That pizza
find that
looks good.
on.
Making me hungry now.
Yeah, I know. We're getting hungry. Speaking of hungry, one part of the events we're doing in Tokyo and Hiroshima also wonderful vegan food as a part of our day's event. And it's one of the things that I was searching for a local venue who could do vegan or even vegetarian food
Hmm.
where we are, and it was impossible.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nobody could even conceive of it, right? So it
Hmm.
is still really difficult. So I think this is something as a part of the event to show it is possible, it
Yeah,
is tasty, and we don't need to use like single-use containers either. So we're gonna
exactly.
like
Yeah.
showing in action how it's high value and it's more sustainable. Let's think about doing this more, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. No, we're sort of lucky in Tokyo. I think we're beginning to find some more options now. When we were looking into who we want to use as a lunch provider, there are some who are providing, vegan and vegetarian food now options, which is great. But still, if people are not using them, they're not aware of what's there, they're not going to stick around. So it's a great to have an opportunity to bring that out to the front as well.
Yeah. Now, my husband and I started Get Hiroshima, a local regional website, in 1999. We've been doing it for a long time, promoting great events and local businesses. And sometimes we meet people who are like, oh, don't share that because I don't want too many people to go, you know? And
Right.
it's always a delicate balance. Of
Mm,
course, we
mm.
don't want to be the one that's recommending places which get too busy and they lose their appeal. But a lot of businesses are really struggling and a lot of people don't know about it. So
Yeah.
I think you can be a very effective part of support for these
Hmm.
small businesses that need someone to shine a light on it and say,
Yeah.
listen, this is really great. And if we don't support it, it's not going to be here forever, right?
Exactly. So I think that's where, organizations like Ekolokal, with what they're doing, it's, really helping the smaller businesses there get the word out and show what they can do, which is wonderful to see.
Yeah. Now
Yeah.
you've got two great initiatives right in your backyard there,
Yes.
in Yokohama. Do you want to talk about Circular Yokohama? That's
Yeah.
exciting to see.
Well, this is something, I mean, Yokohama's got a lot going on. You see SDGs around everywhere. I went to a bar the other day, an outside bar that had a sort of, uh, you know, what do you call it, portaloo kind of toilets outside. They even had SDG signs in there saying, please don't use too much paper and da 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 and all of this. So it's great to see there's a lot going on. And I stumbled across this actually yesterday looking for something else, which I'll talk about in a moment. But it's a really useful resource. It's in English and Japanese, which is amazing. And it's got information about events they do, about small local businesses that are really working on a circular business model, everything from food to clothing to, all kinds of really interesting stuff. So I was really impressed. You see, you've got tours there, learning about circular city development, business development support. So if you've got an idea and you want to support with how to get that off the ground, you can go and talk to these people. So it was really great to see this happening and being so accessible in English and Japanese, and sort of obviously a lot going on. And as part of that, I've discovered that even in my tiny local town, so I live in a place called Ryokuen Toshi, which usually nobody's ever heard of. It's on a little local line out of Yokohama. They even have a group meeting there, and doing a tour of the local area, looking at, okay, what are the issues for this area? Because it's very much what's talked about as a kind of bed town, Yokuen Toshi. So it was designed for people commuting into Tokyo to work. So there wasn't much around. People come home, they go to their own homes and eat and do everything there, then they go back into Tokyo. So there was very little available around. When everyone moved to work from home at the start of COVID, there were not really many cafes or places you could work outside the home. So people were really stuck and frustrated. So we've seen just a few beginning to pop up now, sort of smaller places. And there's a little bakery by the station that used to be just a bakery. Now it has a little cafe attached to it. So you can actually go and work. And they've got Wi-Fi and they've got sockets to plug your computer in. So people can actually get out of their house and maybe see other people and things like that. So they've done a sort of a tour walking around as a community to say, okay, what are we missing here? What do we need? What is there that we can support and build up? But also, what are the needs here that are not being met, and what can we do about that? So it's really wonderful to see that kind of action happening very, very locally. So I've got in touch with them and looking forward to updating you more when I've had a chance to speak to them.
Yeah, it looks great. I love Yokohama. Whenever
Mm.
I visit the Tokyo area, I always like to walk around that harbor area and the old restored red brick buildings
Yes,
that
yeah,
they've
Karenga.
reused into businesses and eateries, and they're using the heritage in a very appealing way, like
Yes.
bringing it back into relevance, modern
Mm.
relevance, right?
Yeah, very much so, very much so. And one of the reason I found the circular Yokohama site was I was actually looking for, well, last week I was at the dental surgery with my daughter, picked up a local magazine, and found an article for craft beer paper, which kind of caught my attention. It sounded interesting. Again, circular business model. So this couple during COVID were sort of looking for, more meaningful work, and they were talking to a friend, I think, who had a brewery, and they were talking about the waste that comes out of that. So once the beer's brewed, you can see there this kind of leftover uh, kind of byproduct, I suppose, of the beer making um, process. And so they have found a way to make that into paper. They make, as you can see, packaging products. You can do your business cards, your meishi, your sort of coasters and things like that, made from beer waste, which is a really wonderful idea. And they've started working with some of the bigger breweries as well to sort of trial products there. So again, I'm just at the point I need some new meishi, so new business cards. So I think I've found the provider for that, which is quite exciting.
That's great, isn't
Yeah.
it?
And it's
To
lovely, just a
reuse
couple starting this off,
Yeah, reuse the
great
waste
idea.
from the craft beer making.
Yep.
Because a lot of the craft breweries that I've talked to in Kamikatsu and Onomichi and other areas around Japan, they're giving it to farmers because it can be reused
Yes.
in agriculture. It can be given to farm animals.
Yeah.
But reusing it into paper pulp, this is new. I like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Why not? Exactly. So really excited to see. I'm going to order a sample and have a look at that.
Yeah, wonderful.
Mm.
Just to highlight some of the talks next week. So we have Stefan Ledoux,
Ah.
who just started a brand new initiative in Fukuoka called Codo Advisory, another sustainability focused consulting and advising group. So it's wonderful to see that they're opening in Fukuoka,
Yes.
in the
Yeah.
Southern Island. And hopefully, they're going to have a lot of really positive momentum and influence from their projects. And it'd be great to talk to him next week and learn more about it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also talking with Dr.Meng Qu, who is working as an associate professor at Hiroshima University. He's also really active for doing documentaries and research on the rural revitalization projects around
Mm-hmm.
Japan. He's going to be at the event helping us with the technical side, but
Brilliant.
he'll be on the show on the 11th on Wednesday, and we'll be talking about his films and his takeaways. He was actually showing a lot of the films at a recent event in Mitarai where we're having our women's event on the 14th. So that'll be great
Brilliant.
to talk to him. And then his partner, Simona Zollet, who's one of our speakers for the panel, as well as talking about regenerative agriculture
Oh, brilliant.
the
Mm-hmm.
event during the day. So she's also joining the talk show on the 12th to give us kind of a preview of what she'll be talking about and talking more in detail. During the event, most of the speakers are just talking for 20 minutes and then having a question and answer time.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be nice to talk to her for an hour and get a little bit more in depth and
Yeah.
background, how she got motivated to get started and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yes, no, I'm really looking forward to hearing about that. It's an area that's very close to my heart. So, yeah, looking forward to that.
Yeah, wonderful. We have a comment. Yes, you can make paper from hops. Thank you,
Yes.
Black Tengu. I had no idea. That's crazy.
It's incredible, actually. There's a printing company near us, so just outside Yokohama, called Okawa Printing, that we sort of came across about 3-4 years ago, I think. And it's a family-run business, very successful. They've been going for a very, very long time. But Okawa-san, the current CEO, family head, he's very, very passionate about SDGs, sustainability. Um, and when I met him, he gave me his business card the first time and said, what do you think it's made from? And it looks like sort of perfectly ordinary paper. I was, okay, not quite sure, bamboo or something. He said, elephant dung.
Yeah,
Did
I've
not
I've
expect
had
that.
mochi from elephant dung too.
Yes, yeah.
It's and if you visit India,
Mhm.
they use the elephant dung and cow dung, which
Yep.
has a lot of hay in it, as
Yes,
fire starters for cooking food and stuff
absolutely.
too. But I've seen a lot of elephant dung paper in Japan. It seems like a popular like SUV support and import baby.
Yes, yeah. Well, I suppose it's a great, conversation starter, isn't it? Have
Yeah.
my card made of elephant dung. Why
Yeah.
not? Yeah.
And then I had an interview when I first started the series about banana paper. And
Ah, with
recently,
Teo and Satoko
right?
Ekberg,
Yeah.
right? Yes.
And
Yeah.
recently you're seeing the banana paper that they have started this initiative in
Mm.
Africa to support a lot of local communities in Africa who can make paper from the byproduct after the banana tree is cut down.
Yep.
You have to plant new trees every year. This is stuff I didn't.
Mm.
So there is a lot of waste, and they make paper out of it and then ship it to Japan. It's a good way to support. Lush and Starbucks have both been using the banana paper, so it's really wonderful to see
Yeah.
that taking off as well.
Yes, very much so.
We don't need new tree pulp paper anymore. We've got enough organic
So
waste and
much out there.
reuse material to make paper out there,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, exactly. It's just the mindset shift that's required to see waste not as waste, but actually just as a different product and think about what to
Absolutely.
do with it.
That
Hmm.
whole mindset shift about waste not being something that goes away, I think
Hmm.
that's so key, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
when you
Well,
put it
that's
in
the
the garbage,
circular
it doesn't
thinking,
go
right?
away.
Mm.
When you put it into your garden, it doesn't go away in a good way, right? It's reused, and that energy and
Hmm.
minerals and everything comes back.
Yeah.
I do have a book this week.
Mhm.
Yay! We've kind of fallen off our book bandwagon here. But I've been reading John Lee's book, Japan, the Sustainable Society. And
Hmm.
it's really interesting. He's a researcher. It's published by University of California Press. They sent me a preview copy
Mm.
because I'm hoping to be able to talk with the author who is based in the US. And I love this quote right here. He says, many Japanese people enjoy rest and relaxation, even idleness, and not just by way of onsen travel. Meaning and purpose can be found and cultivated in leisure activity. The sustainable society is ludic.
Hmm.
Do you know what that word is? I had to look it
Ludic.
up.
No.
Yeah, it's like spontaneous.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And what underlies it is a search for ikigai, for meaning,
Hmm.
for reasons to live, reasons that in turn sustain the artisanal ethos and ordinary virtues. So he's linking a lot about traditional Japan, the art. I cannot say that word. Artisanal.
Got
Artisanal?
it.
No.
No, I
Yeah.
think the first one was right.
Okay. Artists and
I'm just gonna try.
craftspeople. Yeah.
Yep.
But linking that to how sustainability is relevant in modern Japan because of that link and
Mm.
respect for heritage and culture.
Yes.
So, yeah, wonderful. Lots of
Brilliant. Oh,
insights
that sounds
there.
like an interesting read. Yeah.
Yeah. I should put the link. So that is our talk for this week. Oh my gosh, under 30 minutes. We've done it, Tova.
Probably the first time we've actually been on time, right?
The first time, I think. Any final words before we sign off?
Just looking forward to seeing everybody at the event. So we have a week basically. It's next Saturday, the 14th of May, and either in person in Hiroshima or Tokyo or online. We do hope you'll join us. The more diversity we have in the room there, the richer these conversations and the value will be for everyone. So yeah, really looking forward to seeing you all.
Yeah. So we have put all the links below. Please have a look at the event website. And if you can, please go and buy your tickets soon, soon, soon. Tova and I have to order all the lunches by Wednesday is the limit. So there's just a few more days to buy those tickets. We really appreciate the support, and we are sure it's going to be a fantastic event that everybody's going to feel really empowered and inspired by. So please do sign up, and hopefully we can do it again and again, right, Tova?
Yes, absolutely. Yep. Looking forward
Thanks
to it.
everyone for joining. Enjoy the end of your golden week if you're still on holiday, and we'll catch up with you again next week.
Brilliant. Okay, thank you.
Take care. Join us today at 5 p.m. If you're free, to when I talked with Andrea Carlson about Kominka, Japan, and the relationships to the U.S. as well. All right, take care, everyone. Bye.